Hello engineers and welcome back to another episode of Automated. Today we are working through World 3, Level 4, Through the Looking Glass, going for 5 stars. As with always, our process is first to observe the map. We've got 3 distinct sections, each higher than the last. Fantastic. What are we trying to produce? 100 reinforced glass screen in 2 minutes 10. But we're going for the start, so it's 1 minute 40. Let's see what the fastest method of producing this item is. Both produce at 60. One is significantly easier than the other. Oh, this is a new recipe. Look at this. A dissolution chamber with all 3 inputs. So at what rate do we need to produce this to hit this target? If we produce it at 2 dissolution chambers, which is 120, will we hit our target? In 2 minutes, it should produce... or even 2 would be very tight. So with 2 dissolution chambers, we'd be able to produce 120 in a minute. And we have 1 minute 40. So we only need to produce 100. So that gives it the machine like 50 seconds to whir up and start working. But this is a really difficult recipe because we need to wire 3 separate things into a dissolution chamber. This recipe, on the other hand, also requires 3 separate things into a dissolution chamber and 2 liquids. Okay, never mind. We'll stick with this recipe then. Glass is pretty straightforward. Reinforced concrete. Okay, there's only one recipe for this unless we directly put the wood into a furnace to make coal, or we cut the wood and then put it into a furnace to make even more coal. Whatever, don't care about that. One manufacturer can only make 60 of these. We need 120. So we need 4 manufacturers making this thing, right? 4 manufacturers will make the 240 we need. We need the 120 of this, and then we need 240 of this. At least this is easy. We just need to cut the copper. Nothing else uses copper. This solution, sulfuric acid, only has one way of making it. Is it? I thought there was other ways of making sulfuric acid, because I've seen sulfuric acid before, and it was a lot easier. I think, no, the last level we had sulfuric acid directly gave us sulfuric acid. So let's work on the fixed stuff first. I think we should get the sulfuric acid going first. So it starts with sulfur. Where is our sulfur? Please tell me each one of these sections is well able to make its own thing. So to make sulfuric acid, we only need sulfur and water, which makes a lot of sense. So there's our sulfur, and our sulfur is fake sulfur. It's not even like proper sulfur. What? It's only 30 per minute, so we're only getting half the sulfur. Ah, there's another sulfur that's 30 per minute. So these 2 sulfurs put together makes all the sulfur that we need. Is there a better sulfur? There is no better sulfur. Bear in mind that we're getting absolutely nothing else. Oh, I hate this already. They put the 2 sulfurs separately, each spawning at half, so 30-30. Putting them together will get us our 60 sulfur that we need to get into a dissolution chamber. So it would make sense to put the dissolution chamber somewhere in the middle over here, and then belt the sulfur in like this. Is there a better solution than this for sulfur? I don't think so. Because this will start up when the 2 sulfurs sort of meet up in the middle somewhere. And that gets us our sulfur dioxide. And then we need to mix that with water in a chemical infuser. Where is our water? Our water is awkwardly here. All of these liquids now travel instantaneously. So it would make sense to bring this down to the water. This is a gas. So we would want to bring the gas down to the water. The water needs to go into a chemical infuser to become steam. That's a chemical infuser. And then the water... Wait, this is steam and this is steam. So it just needs 1 chemical infuser to become steam. So saving some stuff, we can just put this chemical infuser here. Why do you not like being here? Because of this tiny little pipe. That makes our steam. Our steam and this needs to be put together into another chemical infuser. Just gonna flip this a little bit. Like that. that needs to go into another chemical infuser, and that makes us our orange compound, which is sulfur trioxide, okay? SO3. With the steam again, in another chemical infuser. Oh man. Where would we even put the other chemical infuser? Because this thing's coming out of this side. There's probably a better configuration for these chemical infusers. But essentially we'd want to do something like this. And then bring that over to there. And then bring this over around the back. Like that. There. And that can go here. There we go. There is our sulfuric acid done. And that's probably the worst way to do sulfuric acid. Let me think of a better way to do this. That uses up less craziness and space. If you're enjoying the video and you want to support Data Engineer Plays, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section. Alright, I've redone this. Does this look a lot better? The water comes out here, it becomes steam. The steam splits left and right into both of these processes. This thing's been repositioned a little bit closer because that's still kind of the center point between these two. And then if we run this, in theory, this should come out and produce us all of this that we need when it saturates. Yes, that's working exactly the way we want. And that looks like a much cleaner sort of system. At some point, we need to run a pipe from here around there. That's unavoidable. Although, now that I'm looking at this, wouldn't that be better done here? Because then this pipe would be a lot shorter. Why would we run the steam both ways? Always optimizations we can do. Why would we run the steam both ways when we can just run it like this? That works, right? That's a lot less pipe. That's not working though. What have I done wrong? You're not getting any input. You're not getting any input. Something is crisscrossed here, isn't it? Can't see. Yeah, this thing is crisscrossed. So I need to go down under here, then up, cut that, and then go here. There we go. That works, I think. Then in that case, why am I optimizing this so much right now? Wouldn't it be better if I did that? And then just line this up this way. We'll go one more out that way. Up here. And then there. Get rid of this. Put that this way. And then just bring this straight down. Isn't that better? It is not. What have I done wrong? This thing is not getting this. Because this thing needs to be here. There we go. That should be working now. Alright, so I think this is the most space efficient way to do this sulfuric acid system. I'm going to burn this into my memory at some point in case I need to make sulfuric acid in the future. Avoid having to figure this out over and over again. There we go. So that's one of our many components down. Our sulfuric acid is done. Cutting copper is easy. Nothing else here uses copper. Luckily for us, everything uses distinct materials. So to make two of these, we need 240 copper pipes. That means we need 120 copper. We do have copper somewhere, right? Yeah, here's our 120 copper. So that needs to be cut into 240 of these. We'll do this last. Let's do the other difficult component first. We need 2 manufacturers with 3 feeding into each to make the 120 that we need. No, 4 manufacturers to make this reinforced concrete. Oh my lord. So first of all, we need to cut 480 of these. 480 stone blocks into a cutter. Where is even my stone? Lucky we have exactly enough stone so we know we're on the right track. How many cutters do we even need for this? That's not 480. That splits 240, 240, 120, 120, and then it needs to split again. What? What is the pattern for splitting this? We need to split like this. And then split it again. And again. And then cut. But that's not even getting the right amount of supply. 480 becomes 240, 240. Then that becomes 120, 120. I should be getting 480 out. That gets me 120. Why doesn't this get me 120? Ah, I know why. Silly. It does. We need to upgrade these two belts because otherwise we don't have the throughput for this. There's our 480 stone. Now, to meet that, we need 240 coal, which means we need to furnace 4 times the wood. And this thing is in our way now. We can move this back over to the other side. But let's see if we can't squeeze this in. So that makes 120. So we can fit 2 furnaces here. And then if we want to fit another 2 furnaces here. We'd have to do something like this. There's our 4 belts of coal. And then we need 4 belts of iron. Where's our iron? Our iron is on this side. We have 120 iron. And we need more iron. There's more iron and copper also up here. No, we need the copper, but we need the iron from up here too. Oh man. So the 120 can only be split in half. And then furnaced. And then we need the same thing up the top. Like that. And there's our 4 belts of that. Now we need to mix all these 4 belts into manufacturers to make this. So let's just put some manufacturers down. Manufacturers with 3 inputs are really hard to do sort of next to each other. Then ultimately the output of that needs to mix with something into a dissolution chamber. And then where's our final output? Back down here. I think it's time to work backwards now. Our 2 dissolution chambers are going to be here. And then we need to input something into here and then split the input many times into here. Oh, where do we put the 4 manufacturers though? What if we put 2 manufacturers down here and like 2 manufacturers up here? Like if I put 2 manufacturers here, then we need to like belt that in and belt that in. Like that. That's the stupidest way of belting things ever. We'll optimize in a bit, but essentially we want to do something like that. And then the output of these 2 manufacturers will go into one of these. The manufacturer also needs that, so we've just put the stone blocks in. We need to put the coal in. How the heck are we going to get the coal into this? We'll definitely need more space. I'm just going to move everything out 1. That way, at least we have enough room for lifts. So to get the coal in, we need a lift like here. And that's going to intercept all of the height issues as well. Let's just do the most direct belting for the coal, which is like that. That's 2 in. And then we need to get one of these blocks in. We'll travel both down. So if we get rid of this and just bring this in to this side and bring this into this side, we can at least have a split here. Because this coal going into here also needs to split off somewhere. We need like another splitter and another lift system somewhere. Is there a clever way of doing the lift into the splitter? No, because then we need a lift into a splitter both times. So this doesn't work. Let's get rid of it. How do we, what's a good pattern for this? So whatever goes into this splitter needs a lift. And then whatever goes here needs a lift. And it needs to be able to loop back around that way. Around the back of this elevator. Either that or we use 2 elevators. But that doesn't make sense either. Because then we'd have to get 2 belts from up here. I think, let's try something else. What if we put our manufacturers like here and here, with 1 set of lifts here, 1 set of lifts offset a little bit. Then we need a lift to lift that in. Like this. And then this thing needs to go like further back like this. And then we can have a belt of stuff going into either one. That's crazy. Double manufacturers are so hard to build to. We'd need to like put this there. And then this like there. And that gets us the iron. This lift can be used for whatever's coming out of here. And then this thing needs a lift as well. Oh god. Yeah, there's got to be a different pattern for putting 3 things into 2 manufacturers. Otherwise, we're just going to need lifts on like every single level. And it's going to be tremendously terrible. Let me think of a good design. I think this is the best design that I've come up with. If we put the 2 cutters in here, then we don't actually have to cut anything here. Which means we don't need to split here, right? We can just bring a 120 belt of stuff out. Right? And if we line it up with the cutter's input is this thing. We can do something like this. Great. So that cuts that in. Now we just need to worry about this one, which we can now put like this. And if we flip this one like this, then basically if we just run a belt along here and into here, we basically just need something like this, and that gets us our reinforced concrete. Because that's coming out at 120, then going up here. Ah, but this is not a splitter. So you can't just split. Ah, this is super annoying. So we need to split, say, here. Because you have to do the splits on the ground. There's no like mid-air splitter, right? And this is still not the right volume of stuff. Because you need 60, 60, and 120 of these. Oh man, this is not even correct. So given doubling this up seems like an almost insane idea, I'm looking at the other solution, okay? Hear me out here. It looks more complicated, but if we take a more careful look at this, all of this stuff over here is already being done to make sulfuric acid. We just need to mix sulfuric acid and fluorite in a dissolution chamber and we get hydrofluoric acid into a biofluxer, and then we get liquid hydrofluoric acid. So we get both chemical inputs. Why is that good? Because then we only need to make double of this, and then we just need to cut iron into iron pipes. Right? I think that's better. Because then we don't have to do this nonsense twice. Otherwise we'd have to make 4 sets of this. This is more manageable because now we just need 2 of these into 2 dissolution chambers. Doesn't that sound more manageable? It sounds more manageable to me. I'm going to delete what I've done over here and all this craziness and all this craziness. Not all of it, but let's just delete all of it. So we'll work backwards, right? If we want our final output to be, say, here somewhere, which is our 2 dissolution chambers, one of the dissolution chambers needs to, well, basically we just need to feed a manufacturer of this into each one. And then we can worry about all the cutters and stuff later, right? So if I put a manufacturer here and say here, then that direct feeds and that solves a lot of my problems. Now I just need to feed all of my materials into the manufacturer, of which is not that many now. One manufacturer only takes 60 iron ingot. Let's worry about the stone blocks first. It takes 120 stone blocks. So we don't need as many stone blocks anymore. In fact, if we just cut this, that's our 120. Wait, we don't even need to feed it into there. What am I doing? So there's our 120 stone blocks. We probably want to feed it into the bottom one to get it out of the way. So that's getting its stone blocks. The next thing we need to do is get it coal. Let's just do one side first. So to get it coal, we need to bring it up 1 level. Something like this. We only need to give it 60 coal, which means we only need to give it this. So now it's getting its 120 iron and 60 coal. And then we just need to bring in 60 iron ingots, which is all here. Well, we just need a furnace at some point. I feel like if we just bring it all down and then furnace it, it would be more efficient. Like that. Then split it. Then furnace it. If we just bring it back like 1 tile, won't worry about hyper optimization yet. We'll do that for the end. Do something like that. In that case, we should probably move this over this side. Bring this one in like that. Then this needs to go to the other side. So let's just put a belt here and then we can worry about where the other stuff goes later. We need to do something similar with the stone block, which is like that. And then we cut it. And then if we bring it around the back, there's our second input. And then this can come straight down. And then go into here. And there's our 60 and 60 into the dissolution chamber, which is one of our products sorted straight away. Our second product is this 120 iron pipes each, which can be that input, or we can bring the 240 glass into here. Either way, we should be using a double up of some sort, like a higher tier belt. But the glass looks more easily bringable. So we'll leave the glass to the end because it looks easier to get into here somehow. Like I can just... We've got to worry about the liquid output too, because the liquid, having double liquid output is not going to be that easy to do. Ideally, I'd want something coming out this way into this thing. So let's just put the lift in here. The lift needs to go in here at some point. And where's the other iron coming from? We need to get this cutter to do 240 iron. So that's going to come from here because we're already using up all the iron here. So it makes sense to bring this as a belt. Like a really long, fast belt across here. So we hop this part. Like that. Then we can bring a belt all the way along here, and then we bring it down to cut. Each cutter makes 120, so it makes sense to, let's just put the cutters in, then split. Each cutter takes 60 and turns it into 120, so we don't even need a super fast belt here. We just need a regular, well, we might need a super fast belt at some point, but we just need a regular belt of 120. It goes down here and splits into 2 cutters at some point. And then if we just put, like, say it for now, a thing that goes like this, then we just need to join this belt and this lift. So we want this lift, but a little bit higher. And then this belt just goes in here. That gets our 120, 120, and that's 2 of our solid components in. Now we just need to put the 3rd solid component in, which is 2 belts of 120 of this. So we'd want to flip it this way and this way, and then something like this. That would work. Maybe we go 1 higher. Is that right? We go 1 higher. Split it here. This can be a 240 belt. I think it's probably, oh, it costs the same, I reckon. And then these can be 120 belts. Here and here. And that gets me all 3 inputs at the right quantity. It doesn't tell me how much glass is coming in, but I have faith that we're getting 120 glass into each, because 240 split in half, 2 belts of 120 into here and here. Now, we just need to get the sulfuric acid as well as the liquid hydrofluoric acid in. So we can get rid of some of this nonsense and do that is the same. But we need to make this liquid hydrofluoric stuff. So in here, we need to, in a dissolution chamber, we need to mix this and the sulfuric acid. So let's put in a dissolution chamber, and then it's going to need to be straight into a biofluxor. It's a gas into a biofluxor, like that. That would be ideal, but how do I get my solid in now from here? If only I could move all of this out a little bit and create some space for myself. Is there wood somewhere else? No. I need the wood here. I'm like 1 tile short, which is really sad. So we can put the biofluxor down here. That doesn't hurt me too much. That way I can put that there. And then we can get the wood up to line up with this. Like that. And then that can go in. So that's getting the fluorite. And we just need to put the gas input in. Or the liquid input in, sorry. Ah, no, the liquid input is in the way of this belt. But that's fine. We can move this belt. We can go up. Gotta be very creative at this point. Up. And in. There we go. That's our liquid that we need. But we also need this liquid. So we need this liquid and this liquid. And they need to go into both of these. So we can link this up. That can be one of my liquids. This shouldn't be hard to do. And then this pipe can come out. And this pipe can come out. And at some point link together. Like this. Now I just need to link these 2 pipes with these 2 pipes. So let's take the higher one high. And the lower one low. Underneath the belt. Like that. Is that not working? So it's not getting the fluoride. Ah, what am I doing? The fluoride is a gas. No. Sorry. I'm going insane. forgot to do a step. This needs to go down into here. Like that. That gets me the liquid that I need. And then this liquid needs to like weave into here, or it needs to connect something. Can't even see with these stupid icons in the way. So it's this one. Why don't we just go up and over? Because it doesn't really matter, does it? Up. And we'll optimize these pipes in a bit. I just want to get this working first. And down. Oh, we did it! 2 glasses! Amazing. How's our power and everything? Probably terrible. We're actually under for power. But I think we need to reposition the machines for speed because this is going to be very, very slow. We just need to produce 100 and look how long it takes even for the first one to get produced. Well, nothing's being produced because I'm missing something. This is stuck. This is stuck. What am I missing? Nothing's coming out of here. Why is no glass coming out of here? Or it is coming out, I just can't see it. Yeah, glass is there. What are we missing? Oh, we are producing it. We're just... Oh, right. I'm an idiot. We haven't output the damn thing. Alright, let's see if this works. Silly mistakes. Alright, now it's producing it. It took a while to whir up. Alright, we've got a solution. Oh, we got our 5-star solution instantly. No optimization required. We're number 7 for time. We are number 4 for power. And we're number 7 for space. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm definitely happy with that. Someone's done it slightly faster. Let's see if we can see anything from the 5-star solutions. This person's doing almost exactly the same build as me over here. They're doing their hydrofluoric acid all the way up here with that. That means they're bringing the sulfuric acid back up, which probably is not as efficient, I don't think. And then they're doing, I can't really see what's going on over here, but they're doing a different belting system to me. But I think ultimately it's very similar. I can see they're bringing all this stuff down here. And this is the fastest solution. Yes, the key was to use the more complex method of doing it because it saves you from doing 4 manufacturers. What can we see from this guy's solution? He's doing his dissolution chamber here. I can't see where he's manufactured. It's really hard to see stuff in the dark. But he's creating his fluorite solution down here. Yeah, I think they're all very, very similar. That's the glass. I just can't really see where he's put his manufacturers in this picture. But they're all very similar solutions. My solution also works and gets us 5 stars. It's not the number 1 solution, but it is very, very close. He's only shaved like 7 seconds off my solution. In terms of space, we're really far. There's a much, much better solution using 800 power and using even less space. I really want to see this guy's solution, but he's not going to post it, so that's fine. So we did this level. We'll leave it here. Moving on.